How's everybody doing? I know that I haven't been on the air for a long time. I've had a couple of personal tragedies that occurred and certain death in the family that occurred. In addition to me being in school, doing the Moon series. So many of you asked for the Moon series. So I've been developing that. So I've been away from you for about a month and 3 days. Not only have I been dealing with personal questions of my own, but I've also been developing the next series that a lot of you are interested in. And also, in addition to that, I've been doing personal readings for many of you. There are still 3 people that I still need to read that have paid, and I still got to reach them, and they know who they are. I'm not going to mention their names on the air. But between that and school and finishing the theater, I just had a show close on the 31st of October. And then in the schooling, there's a lot going on. And I'm getting ready to go to the African continent, and I'll be there for a while. And I've decided to do the videos while I'm in that continent to make up. I plan to finish the compatibility and incompatibility of signs series by the end of December, and then begin the moon sign series immediately after. I'm also going to be talking about more spiritual and esoteric mysteries like that of Atlantis, and talking about the history of the solar system and the planets and what's really behind those mysteries. I also want to give each and every one of my subscribers a special gift for Christmas. I'm going to do a birth chart interpretation. And this birth chart interpretation will be 4 hours long. And you're going to use that to learn how to read your own horoscope. And I'm going to let you know which site to use, that I use, and which you can reference the material that I will be providing for you when I do this. And I'm working on that now. So if you want a birth chart consultation, you call me. We set up a birth chart consultation. But the prerequisite will be that you will have to watch that video. If you watch that video, it cuts the time in half. I charge a lot of money for 2-hour readings, but by doing the video and giving the preliminaries and getting that out of the way, then it's more. It gives me more room and more space to talk about deeper issues concerning you. So you elect to get a professional birth chart done. If you don't choose to get a professional birth chart done, you can still rely on that video that I'm going to provide for you, which is 4 hours long, and then you can go into your own website and put on and play your own birth date and chart, and you can really learn how to do the chart on your own by yourself. Not that you're going to be a professional at it. You still need to talk to a professional astrologer for the deeper stuff. Okay? So I'm never going to be out of a job. But I really would like humanity to understand at least 40 to 50% of it. Because it's a lot to explain from an astrologer to an individual to a group. Even if I do a seminar, it's a lot of information. So I think giving you a roadmap as to how to approach your birth chart on your own will be very, very good. Instead of following these generic website types, I'll tell you what to focus on. And then if you want to go deeper and know more, then you call for a consultation with a professional astrologer, whether it's me or somebody else. But at least I would have given you some kind of roadmap for you to go on. Okay? So there was a lot going on in between doing that, my school, because I went back to school, and then I finished the theater, and then I had a personal tragedy, a personal death in the family, and I had to step away, for a while. And don't forget that I had to finish the show on the 31st of October. So I was pulled in all kind of different directions. Right? So, but that's no longer going to be the case. I am now going to appear on the air on a regular basis. Okay? But I needed to go through this situation here and put those things, in order. So today we are going to talk about compatibility of signs. And we're going to continue with part 2 of Taurus and Cancer. Okay? Taurus and Cancer. And I believe I mentioned that, it is a sign of compatibility. It is a sign of a lot. Okay? Of a lot. You know? The thing about Taurus and Cancer, remember, the moon is exalted in Cancer, in Taurus. Okay? I mentioned in part one that Taurus was a mutable earth sign. I made a mistake. It's a fixed sign, not mutable. But I said that in part one, and I might have been a little, inebriated, and I misinformed you. So Taurus is a fixed sign, and Virgo is a mutable sign. And I said that Virgo was a fixed sign, or that Taurus was a mutable sign, something like that. I mixed the two, but I'm correcting that now. Okay, so we are going to jump right in, and we're going to continue with part two of compatibility of sign between Taurus and Cancer. One common denominator that you could say about Taurus and Cancer is that they both seek harmony and they both seek peace, and both of them have a lot in common. Both of them have a lot in common. One commonality is that they want peace. They like peace. They don't like drama. They don't like noise. That's one. The other is that they have concerns for security and survivability and continuity. The other point is that they need peace and tranquility around them, both Taurus and Cancer, as individuals and as a group. As individuals and as a group. So, what happens? There isn't really much to say concerning, what can I say? Concerning conflict. Why this will work, why this will not work. There's no real, how can I put it, conflict. No real conflict. If there is a conflict that exists, it will occur because they're young, unexperienced, and still have a lot to learn in their journey and in their process. Once this occurs, there is no real conflict or conflicting barriers that can make these two people not work together, not be together, not coexist together. Okay? Understand that Cancer provides the emotional wisdom that is required of Taurus to understand not only himself, but to understand life around him. He does to a certain degree. To a certain degree, he does. Philosophically, he does. Remember, the side of Taurus, which also correlates with Libra, is that side that deals with philosophy. I got a little nose. It deals with philosophy, right? Libra deals with philosophy and the philosophical way of relating to human beings. Libra is concerned with balance and the balance of individual concerns versus the concerns of the partner. This is a Libra function, and you can see this in Libra, in the sign of Libra. Why am I mentioning Libra? Because Venus rules Libra and Taurus. Mercury rules Gemini and Virgo. you have many planets that rule dual signs, okay? And they have different functions. The Taurus side of Venus deals with material prosperity, material sustainability, and material concerns. And that also correlates to food, clothing, and tangible objects. Let me tell you something about food and Taurus that many astrologers don't talk about. And food has a psychological counterpart. Food has a psychological counterpart. And that counterpart is emotional safety. Emotional safety. Corinda, you there? Emotional safety. When one feels unsafe emotionally, one gets to eat and eat. The eating fulfills two functions. It relieves anxiety and also as a feeling of fullness. You know, when we eat and we're in a full stomach, we feel complete because we're full, so we don't eat no more, we're satiated. The same thing is true when there's an emotional or psychological lack. If there's an emotional or psychological lack within you, you're going to feel a void, like a vacuum, and you're going to want to fulfill it. And most people use food because it actually fills the stomach and you feel a sense of fullness, of completeness. And that in itself lends a certain psychological degree of safety where you can kind of like insulate yourself. This is also true of people who fold themselves and they rock back and forth. You've seen kids or babies or adolescents that rock back and forth. These are people that have experienced severe trauma and abuse and are not rescued and don't get nurturing or empathy. So they cross their arms to kind of like insulate themselves and give themselves that empathy and that love. And they rock back and forth, like going back to the cradle. It's very psychological. And food gives that same cathartic effect when you are or feel empty inside because of some emotional or mental painful trauma. It creates a vacuum. And people eat to fulfill that vacuum. That's the reason why eating and emotion is very intrinsic to both Cancer and Taurus. Bulimia and all kinds of diseases that deal with nutrition, with bulimia is one of them, is based on this issue of emotional lack or emotional depravity based on trauma. So food becomes a sense of solace for both Cancer and Taurus. That same analogy between food and pain and emotion can be also ascribed to Cancer and to Taurus as a couple, as a unit. Both of them act symbiotically, and both of them act as a safety net to each other. Out of all the combinations in astrology, this one is the most peaceful, the most rewarding, and the most harmonizing. Their sole concern is for sustainability, survivability, and self-preservation. This is my last call. I'm having, a little gray goose. I can't keep it in there too long because then the advertisers of YouTube is going to call me and tell me a new one. And I have the, a gray goose with a little, a little something, something. Maybe a little, it's like a Long Island iced tea. But it's 5:08 in the morning. So I don't usually drink past 4 o'clock, but I haven't been drinking lately because I've been going to so many personal crises and traumas and, life, you know. And because I'm in the business of advising people and counseling people as to what to do with their lives and their relationships, when I go to shit myself, I gotta hit it running and take it in slide like I told everybody else to do, right? Because I gotta take my own advice. So I can't boo-hoo-hoo too long. I gotta jump right in and go right back to work. And I share this with you to let you know that I'm no different than any of you. I go through the same bullshit as all of you. I just recently went through a terrible, terrible betrayal. Terrible, terrible betrayal. Which is no different than anybody else goes through. But like I've always said, it's not what happens to you that matters. It's how you handle what's thrown at you. That's the true test of strength. And that applies for anything. Right? I want to thank many of you out there for being patient and being understanding, and for those of you who are still donating and providing. I know I cut the series to say that a little bit, but that's it. That's all I'm going to say about that. But understand that this is a beautiful combination between Taurus and Cancer. Okay? Cardinal water with fixed earth. Now, I've already ascribed the analogies of these two signs with nature in part 1. But you can ascribe many, many examples of nature with this combination. This is one of my best and most favorite combinations. But then you have to understand that there are pitfalls and bad sides and flaws. And a man is different from a woman, Taurus or Cancer. If we're dealing with a Taurus man and a Cancer woman, the Taurus, it's a good combination. The Taurus man is going to do his routine. You have to understand, you Cancer women, or you a woman, period. The Taurus man and the Taurus woman, but more so the Taurus man and the Taurus woman, they like their routine. They like their routine. And they don't deviate from their routine. On Saturday, they do this at this time, and in the same order. It doesn't change. The same with Scorpio, Aquarius, and what's the other sign? I'm forgetting. Well, Taurus, Scorpio, Aquarius, and Leo, the fixed fire. These people, these signs, stick to their routine, stick to their regularity. And they don't deviate much from it. Right? So if you're going to be with a Taurus man, or Scorpio, Aquarian, or Leo man, for that matter, you need to study them. No, you really need to study them. Observe them. You all know I am with a Scorpio. I was married to a Scorpio woman for 10 years, and now I'm with a Scorpio man for 10 years. Not going on 10 years. And understand that in order for me to... The reason why I've lasted this long in both relationships with the Scorpio man and the Scorpio woman is because I took over 2 years each to figure them out, to study them, observe them, analyze them. And no one is a better analyzer than Virgo. We'll analyze you and figure you out before you figure out what we're doing. No? And I had to do that. And that's the only reason why my relationship with Scorpios have been successful. Because I took the time to figure them out. You have to. You have to. Because they certainly are not going to tell you anything. Why am I talking about Scorpio? Because the polarity point of Taurus is Scorpio. So the underlying psychological basin behind the motivations of a Taurus lies in Scorpio. That's the subconscious of Taurus. So even though Taurus may appear gentle and sweet and nice and kind and blah, 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 it's all a front. Because when the push comes to shove, he will show his true face. And you're going to go, yo, what the fuck? Is this, yo, I thought you were talking, and then, oh, you'll be caught by surprise. Don't get caught by surprise. The same thing with Cancer. Cancer, the opposite polarity or the polarity point of Cancer is Capricorn, the devil. So you're dealing with the polarity opposite point of the devil and death with both Cancer and Taurus. You have damn of a combination if you are the one that's going to go against this couple. Whether you are in-laws, whether you are family members, friends. If these two get together, there's no way you're going to break them apart. This is a match made in heaven. There is no war of the roses here. Although that very well could be a possibility because the Scorpio polarity point from Taurus and then the devil to the Cancer polarity point of Capricorn can lend for that to brew. Right? So the potential is there. But it doesn't really happen. In my experience, I've seldom seen this combination not work. If anything, this combination does work. It always works. You know, another thing that is important for this combination is survival and sustainability through financial security. So, if both these, but then again, that's true. But another thing that I wanted to mention concerning Taurus and Cancer is that they are also the sign of irreconcilable differences. So if you are in a relationship where you are in an impasse and both of you don't relate on anything, irreconcilable differences, then that can lend, if they don't resolve to separate or divorce, that can then lend for the War of the Roses, where they just have to stay in the marriage because of convenience, whether it's economical or what have you, and being a part of separating will not work at the best interest of the couple. Remember, a lot of those decisions will be based on financial concerns, because both Cancer and Taurus are very concerned about financial matters and financial security. So a divorce might not be the right thing to do if you're the type of person that deals with or is concerned about survival and sustainability. At worst, this can end up really messy. At best, this can be, like I said, a marriage of convenience where both parties know what roles they play and that the main essence of their partnership is for survivability and sustainability. Love and romance, yeah, that can figure into the equation, sure. But if it dies out or wanes, like it most definitely will, as it always does in interpersonal relationships of all kinds, then you have to have something else to base the relationship on. And another area in which Taurus and Cancer can base or develop a foundation in which the relationship can last will be that they have to have a mutual likeness towards one another, a mutual fondness towards one another, and a mutual respect towards one another, and patience towards one another. And I think that when that occurs is when the person, both Taurus and Cancer, will be very balanced. The Taurus woman, if we're talking about the Taurus woman, with the Cancer man, she's going to be the one to probably sustain the relationship, dominate the relationship, and preserve the relationship. The Taurus man, will do the same thing, but through the financial. Because you have to understand. You have to understand that Cancer is also concerned with self-preservation, and she's concerned with material and security. But Taurus is the one that actually makes it happen. Now, Cancer can make it happen too. But Cancer would rather that the husband or the boyfriend does it instead of her. She'll do it if she has to. But she would prefer that you do it. You know? You can't blame Miss Cancer, you know? And Taurus fits the bill. He's good for the job. Right? So it's most likely that the Taurus woman will run the house while she lets the Cancer man take care of business outside the house. But the relationship can be symbiotic. The Taurus woman is just as capable of running shit from the outside as well as the inside. And the Cancer man can be just as domestic and just as much a family man as the Taurus woman is a nurturer and protector. So they both work very, very well. If we're dealing with a Cancer woman and a Taurus man, you're dealing with the Cancer woman will inherently know who her man is. The Taurus man will not know initially. For the Taurus man, he will have to learn over time to appreciate the Cancer woman. Won't be able to appreciate her if he doesn't put the time in to get to know her. Because the Cancer woman is not going to wear her heart on her sleeve, and she's not going to also make herself vulnerable for you. She won't do that for her own mother. Much less will she do that for you. No? Cancer is very loving and giving, more than any other sign, for the exception of maybe Pisces. But the Cancer woman does know how to protect herself, does know how to self-preserve, and she knows how to fight and retaliate. Like Pisces, she's a lot tougher than she appears. And that's where people go wrong with Cancer. The same thing with Taurus. Taurus is sweet, cuddly, bubbly, nice, a good financial provider, like Cancer men. But you push the wrong buttons with a Taurian, and you best believe that you will be gorged if you don't move fast enough. So even though Cancer and Taurus are very subtle signs, and signs that lend towards humility, don't get it twisted. They can be deadly. And this combination against the world, they will be like an 18-wheeler Mack truck. You won't be able to stop this combination. If we're dealing with people that are mature, they know themselves, and it's past age 30. And we're done with this combination.